Hello, good morning, everybody. Let me do my usual. I'm just gonna tag some ladies who I can see are on Facebook, so Facebook can alert everybody that I'm here. Good morning. It's my birthday today. I can't believe that I'm 43. Hiya, Indy. How are you? I had a lovely breakfast in bed, thanks to my daughter, who's the only child who actually does anything for me on my birthdays. I got a lovely little homemade massage voucher from her and an Udi and a box of candles, so that was nice, and breakfast in bed, which was a delight. So I'm feeling like I've just rolled out of bed, because I have. Hi Marianne, how are you? Anyway, happy birthday to everybody else who has a birthday today. There's been quite a few people message me saying, it's my birthday too. We're twinning. Yeah, who else is a Virgo here? I am such a stereotypical Virgo. Okay, let's recap. Yesterday there was a lot. There was a lot. I always try and pack in as much value as I can in these types of events, but I'm also very aware that if you're new to any of this kind of work, it is a lot of information and it can feel a bit overwhelming. So let's just do a little recap on what came up yesterday. So yesterday was all about really strengthening your awareness muscle. One of my dear friends who I studied with, my coursework with, is a physiotherapist, and she knows all about all the different muscles in the body, and she said the most important muscle that you can work on strengthening is your awareness muscle. And I just love that idea of just being really proactive about this. Like, we can't expect to lift heavy weights if we go to the gym once a week, right? This is a practice. And the reason this is so important to practice is because you create in your reality what you are habitually thinking, okay? So every thought you think, if you think it enough, your subconscious brain is going to do its job beautifully. It's going to be efficient, it's going to conserve energy, and it's going to lock it in as a belief. So when you place attention to a thought, even if you're not aware you are doing it, which is, usually the case, this is all happening very unconsciously, you are installing and embodying beliefs that are then creating your reality. And take it from me, if you watched the first little live I did on Tuesday when I shared a little bit about my story, I've learned this the very, very hard way of throwing money at strategies and looking outside of myself for answers to solve my problem. And none of it ever worked. None of it ever worked. I could have had the best business coach in the world and the perfect marketing and sales strategy, and it still wouldn't have worked, because I was totally misaligned with it. I was stuck in scarcity and lack, full of self-doubt, lack of confidence, and I was operating from that sort of state of being. Okay, and like I said, it's like putting one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake. You're going nowhere. You are going nowhere. And it's kind of hard to get your head around. I had a breakthrough session with a lady yesterday who is actually a physiotherapist, and she was just like, what? She was like, but I'm such a doer. I take action and I create results. I take action, I create results. Like, it all depends on what I do. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm a doer as well. I'm a big action taker as well. So I totally get that sort of societal conditioning that we're all brought up with, that if you want to create whatever you want to create in your life, it all comes down to doing. And don't get me wrong, there is actions you need to take. However, it's the energy behind the action that is the important piece here. And when I say energy, I'm talking about your thoughts and feelings. Okay, so yesterday was all about your thoughts, which are energy. And today we're going to dive into your feelings, your emotions. Okay, so when I spent 15 years of my life living and breathing applied behavior analysis, totally identified as a practitioner and as a clinician, steeped in the science of applied behavior analysis. I was literally paid to be in my head and problem solve. That's what I did. That's what I love doing. I love solving problems for these children who had autism and their parents and families, blah, blah, blah. And when people started asking me, how are you feeling? I always thought I connected quite well with my emotions. You know, I'm not sort of somebody who hides away from them. I'm very open about talking about how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. But looking back, I'm open about talking about what I'm thinking. I had no clue how to identify emotions in my body. This was just completely alien to me. And when I made this pivot and started learning about all this stuff that I coach on now, I honestly just got so frustrated with the whole like drop into your body stuff and just feel your feelings. I'd be sitting there going, what are you talking about? I don't understand how to drop in my body and just feel my feelings. Like what does that even mean? And because it was steeped in me to follow a procedure and I like a step-by-step guide, you know, it was all a bit airy-fairy. That's honestly how I felt. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Of course I know what happiness feels like, and of course I know what sadness feels like, but everything in between, if you ask me to describe frustration or overwhelm or anxiety or, you know, even something like joy, like how does that feel in my body? I didn't get it, and I certainly didn't understand the importance of this. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What are emotions and why they are honestly the secret behind your success, okay? So I've got my notes here. Emotions, they are energy in motion. That is the definition of an emotion. Energy in motion. They're always moving. They don't want to stay stagnant, okay? So an emotion that we've labeled as anger, anxiety, frustration, joy, love, whatever, is simply a chemical vibration in your body. Something is happening in your body. It's a chemical vibration in your body. And it's like, I always like to imagine emotions are kind of like a wave that, you know, comes up. It wants to move through you and move out the other side. Imagine a wave washing up onto the beach and then it kind of gets pulled back into the sea. That's how I like to imagine emotions. Always moving, always, always moving. They're also information. Like they're a little sort of like a signpost that perhaps you need to evaluate something that you are thinking. Okay, so they're actually a gift. Anytime you have an emotion, it's like, oh, little alarm bell or little signpost to pay attention to what you are thinking. Okay. Okay. So yeah, there are, like, when I say like there's signposts in terms of what you're thinking, the reason that's important is because we will respond, we will engage in a behavior or not, depending on how we are feeling. Okay, so in a nutshell, us humans, we will basically do anything to seek pleasure or avoid pain. Like that's it. We're trying to get the good stuff, get away from the bad stuff. If you have to boil it down, like that's what we're doing. Okay, so the reason you engage in any behavior is because of how you are feeling, and how you are feeling comes from how you are thinking. Okay, so this is important. I'm going to look at this in a bit more detail. So everything in the universe, everything vibrates at a specific frequency. Okay, and this, not only like physical objects like your desk, you know, your pencil, the flowers, you know, your window, but also your thoughts, emotions, and even intentions. So this blew my mind when I learned about this. Everything vibrates at a specific frequency. And these vibrations, they can either be high, low, positive, or negative, okay? And similar vibrations are drawn together like a magnet. Okay, so when you are in emotions of like high frequency or elevated, I call them elevated emotions like joy, love, gratitude, passion, creativity, you are more likely to attract those kinds of positive experiences in your life. And I'm sure you will have experienced this yourself. When you have an openness to life, you know, you might give a stranger a little smile in the street, you might have a little chat with a lady at the supermarket, but you're open and available to attracting more positive experiences in your life when you are in these elevated emotions. And the opposite is true. When you're in the more kind of negative or like low vibe emotions of frustration, overwhelm, lack, and I don't just mean lack in terms of like money, but I'm like this coaching session I had yesterday, she was like, I've got no time. I've got no time. I just don't have time. And I'm like, you're in massive lack here because you have this constant thought of, I don't have time, which is sending you into absolute hustle mode, like on the hamster wheel, doing, because she's just obsessively trying to get through her list of things to do, updating the list of things to do every 2 seconds to see if she's managed to reduce it. So she's coming from a state of like, kind of like almost panic or desperateness to get through her day because she's coming from this state of lack. I don't have enough time. So the important thing to realize here, that if you want to raise your vibration and go up the ladder of elevated emotions to be, you know, more at peace, more relaxed, calm, whatever it is, you have the power to do that, right? It doesn't depend on your external circumstances. This was massive for me when I learned this. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life, you have the power to regulate your emotions right now. Okay. The key here is, though, to do that, but not suppress any kind of, I hate that like labeling positive and negative, but you know, like the lower vibrational emotions, because that's what 99% of us do. We suppress and we squash down and we taboo the emotions that we don't like feeling because they're a bit uncomfortable, and we're making them mean something about ourselves. So this is like the crux of what I do a lot of my coaching on, because we're so conditioned to, well, I guess the whole point is none of us are taught this stuff. That's the first thing to say, is that we're not taught how to feel our feelings when we're at school. Like, we're taught to read and to write. So what we do when we have an uncomfortable emotion is we distract ourselves or we busy ourselves to escape feeling that feeling. And all we're doing there is suppressing that emotion and keeping it stuck inside of our bodies. And then that becomes trapped energy and yucky. And it will come back at some point. Okay, it's just going to like bubble away kind of thing. And the reason this is so important to know is there's a bunch of these sort of distorted thinking patterns that hold our belief systems in place, okay? A bunch of, just think of them like broken thinking patterns. And we all have them between the ages of 0 and 7, when our little brains are sponges and we don't have very well developed language skills. We are literally attaching meanings to things that we experience, that stuff our parents tell us, or we hear on TV, or something our teacher says. We just attach meanings to things. And sometimes in adult life, when we've got a better developed language skill set, we can work out the nuances, but often we're not even aware of it. And they can become really toxic over time, these distorted thinking patterns. And one of the most toxic ones out of all of them is called emotionalizing. And it's basically when you assume that your negative emotions reflect the way things really are. So you have a feeling of like inadequacy, or this feeling of like, oh shit, I'm not good enough, or whatever it is. And therefore you believe your thoughts about yourself, that you're not good enough, you're not experienced enough, who's going to want to listen to you, whatever it is, that they must be true, because you have a feeling that matches those thoughts. And that is toxic. And it's called emotionalizing, and you need to be onto that. So anytime you have a feeling that sort of matches a thought, it's like, hang on a sec, here I am again, emotionalizing. Is this true? Or this is just a thought. This is just an emotion. It's temporary. It's not forever. It's just right here. It's just right now. So be onto yourself with emotionalizing. Honestly, it's the most toxic one. Yeah, so like I said, we avoid doing things, taking action in our business, in our life, because of our feelings. And then we do things, we take action because of our feelings. So feelings here, it is the key. So it's like, okay, if I want to take these big actions in my business to raise my prices, to get on more calls with potential clients, to do some webinars, to create a funnel, whatever it is, it's like, how do I want to feel to be able to take those kinds of actions? Because when I feel overwhelmed and I feel stressed and anxious and inadequate, all I want to do is like play on Canva and tinker on my website. Classic escapes, by the way. So it's like, and also what I've realized is in my pattern was, I'll just squash all the feelings down. You just tell me what to do and I'll just force myself to do it. So even though things felt icky and a bit cringe and whatever it is, I was like, no, we're not going to like listen to the feelings and the emotions. We're just going to keep working really hard, like push energy. And honestly, it's like pushing water up a hill. Take it from me, it doesn't work. Yes, so most of us are experts at avoiding feeling our emotions, and we jump into what I call escape behaviors. Okay, it's like, no, not feeling self-doubt, not feeling anxiety, not feeling frustration, confusion. My goodness, the amount of times confusion comes out. I'm just so confused. I want to have more clarity in my business, what direction to take. We avoid feeling all of these types of feelings by engaging in escape behaviors. Just like I said at the beginning, us humans, we just want to get away from the bad stuff and get more of the good stuff. So here are some examples of escape behaviors, the most common ones that I see and I have personally experienced. So give me a little wave or a thumbs up in the comments if you can identify with any of these escape behaviors. I'm going to read out from my list. Okay. Binge watching Netflix, napping, cleaning your house, procrastinating. Now, you could be procrastinating. I'll just do another course. I'm so busy with learning because I need to like do all this learning before I put these systems into place. Or it could be procrastinating by tweaking things on Canva, tinkering on your website, giving you that false sense of productivity, like pat on the shoulder, all these jobs are important, right? So look how good I've been working so hard. But basically you're procrastinating from the big needle moving actions that are actually going to make a genuine difference in your business. Okay, going into hustle mode. That was my big one. I was like, I'll just work harder. I'll just work more hours. Tell me what to do. I'll just do it. Work. Not a fun place to be in. Overanalyzing is another really common like escape behavior, especially if you are like I was a face-to-face, like in-person sort of practitioner with a really solid business, trying to move into the online space to scale your business, and that tech overwhelm. You're like, oh my goodness, what the heck is a lead magnet? How do I set up this funnel? Blah blah blah. Like, and then you start over-analyzing everything. Trying to figure out the how is very closely related to that. How do I do this? How do I create a sales system that works like a tap that I can just turn on? How do I create an online audience? How do I speak to people in the DMs? How? Working really hard. That was my other big one, with the absolute solid belief that if I want to have more freedom, more time, more money, whatever it is, I just need to work harder. Okay. And a lot of my clients have that one as well. That whole like, I give myself permission to receive money without working harder. It just makes people laugh out loud. Okay. Blaming other people. That's another escape behavior. Going into victim mode, overcomplicating things. Healing mode. This is so interesting, I find. Going into that spiritual practices and healing mode. I'm just going to do some more breath work or some more journaling. I'm just going to focus on my positive affirmations. That can, not always, but it can be an escape behavior. It depends what state you're coming at that from. Okay, it depends what state you're coming at that from. I love yoga. I love breath work. By the way, that's my new favorite thing. But I have recognized that can be an escape. I'm just going to listen to another podcast and I'm just going to read another self-help book. Hi, Parmander. Quick decision making, that's another one. That was me as well. Just spent so long humming and haying on the fence. Will I do that course? Will I work with that business coach? I don't know. Okay, just take my money. I'll just do it. Impulsive, quick decision making. These are all escape behaviors. You are escaping a feeling by engaging in these types of behaviors. Okay, so what are the feelings that you are escaping from? Here's my list. Everybody's the same. Everybody I work with is the same. I'm like, I've now got a list, just tick it off. Anxiety, right? Anxiousness, fear, frustration, confusion, numbness. I worked with a client who honestly said, I don't know, every 2 seconds. I don't know. Just numb. Overwhelm, anger, irritation, defensiveness, Tired can be an escape state. Lack of motivation or apathy, desperation. That was me. I just want it and I want it yesterday. Resistance, skeptical, serious. These are all emotions that I call escape states, and they all indicate an activated nervous system. You want to get back to safety. That's it. Your central nervous system is working beautifully. It's getting activated, and then you are engaging in one of those escape behaviors to do something about this icky feeling that you're having right now. So let me know if any of those resonate. What we need to do is we need to learn how to feel any and all emotion without running away from them and suppressing them. That is the key to success. I guarantee it. That is the key to success. Whatever success means for you. If you have the skill to regulate your emotions, you are winning. There's a professor at Harvard University called Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor. And she's done an amazing amount of research on emotional regulation. And she says that it actually only takes 90 seconds for you to process an emotion. And if it takes any longer than that, you are actually choosing, unconsciously choosing to stay in that emotional loop. And I don't know about you, but that was shocking when I first heard that. 90 seconds, that's all it takes if you allow that emotion to do what it wants to do and move through you. The thing is, first of all, we're not taught this, right? But second of all, the reason it feels like it takes a lot longer for us to let emotions pass through us is because we're either suppressing them, tabooing them and running away from them, or we are just opening the floodgates to all of the thoughts that your brain will naturally want to send you to reinforce this emotion. And it is like pouring petrol on a fire, right? When you're listening to all of the thoughts, your brain's going to be like, oh, remember that time, and remember she said that, and remember this happened to you, and remember, it's going to collect all the evidence to back up the emotion and the thought that you're having. And when you pay attention to that, that's when you suffer in that emotion. And it feels like suffering, right? So, and that's why we avoid it. That's why we don't open that can of worms. We don't want to open Pandora's box, right? But if we can learn that this is just a chemical vibration in my body, it wants to move through me, it's only going to be 90 seconds. If we can learn how to do that, then we don't need to blow it up. Because that is what's happening. We're blowing up these conclusions. With all the limiting beliefs, we go from feeling a little bit not good enough to, oh my God, no one's ever going to like me and I'm going to die alone. That comes up, in terms of the highest core belief, or I'm doomed no matter what. So it's just from 0 to 100, it happens so quickly because we're meaning making machines. We're attaching meanings to things and it blows up really quick. Okay, so how do we regulate emotions? By the way, let me know if you've got any comments, any questions. I actually can't see comments on my phone, but I can answer them after the live. Okay, so how do you feel emotions without having resistance to them? Because that's what's happening. Most of the time, we're just scared to feel fear, or we're just scared to feel out of control. Okay, so it's really simple. This is what you do. You literally fully focus on the physical sensations that you can feel in your body. That's it. That's all you do. You just focus on, okay, I can feel this tightness in my chest. I've got hot, kind of prickly skin. I feel like I might be sick. My tummy's turning. My palms feel clammy. Feel like my heart is racing. Whatever it is, whatever the physical sensations that you feel, that's what you want to focus on. So I'm going to share a little PDF that I share with all of my clients. And I'm like, you need to pin this everywhere. It's called The Language of Emotions. And it's just one page. It just gives you little prompts to help you stay focused on basically becoming a thesaurus of your emotions. So describing how it feels in your body. So what's the temperature? Does it feel hot or cold or warm? What's the pace? Does it feel fast or slow? What's the sort of weight or load? Does it feel like heavy, like that pit in your stomach? You just feel like, oh my God, I just can't even move. Or does it feel like light and airy? What's the sort of vibration or resonance? Does it feel like a throbbing or like a fluttery feeling or pulsating kind of feeling? What's the kind of pain or physical discomfort? You know, sometimes when we feel grief, it's like literally my heart feels like it's breaking, like it's the stab in the heart kind of thing. How big is it? Does it feel big, small? What else have I got here? Texture. Does it feel like rough, jagged, smooth, spiky? And where do you feel it? Where do you feel it? Do you even feel it in your body? Is it kind of outside of you? All we want to focus on, and sometimes there's a color, people see colors as well sometimes, but all we want to focus on is what is going on in my body, especially if you're kind of like me and very in your head and more of a logical thinker. This is an amazing practice, and it is a practice. I had my L plates on for months. Honestly, it took me ages to really get into the swing of this, but it was a game changer for me, because now I'm like, that's the first thing I notice. I'm like, oh, yeah, self-doubts come to pay a visit. Okay, I see you, do you know? And it's like, labeling the emotion first is really helpful because it creates that sort of separation. It's just temporary, it's just right now, it's not forever. I'm like, okay, fear or self-doubt, whatever it is here. Yeah, I can feel you in my body. This is what it feels like. And I'm going to press mute on all of the thoughts that your brain will naturally just want to throw at you. Remember that time and da-da-da-da, and what happens if, and all the what ifing and shooting and all that crap. We've got to be honest to ourselves. Our brain, bless its little heart, just needs to be told to sit down and shut up. Because you're fully focusing on your body. Your body holds all the wisdom you need to know, by the way. And if you're disconnected with it, like I was, it's really hard to lean into your intuition. It's really hard to take inspired and aligned action. It's really hard to know who the hell you are, because you're too busy thinking of, oh, what should I be doing? How should I be showing up? Do I need to say this? Do I need to do that? Always looking outside of yourself. Just stop. Just stop. Just reconnect with that truest part of you, beyond your past and beyond your limiting beliefs and beyond other people's expectations of you. Just beyond it all, like an onion. Peel back all the layers and really take a moment to get quiet and connect with yourself. Drop into your body. That phrase used to piss me off so much, and now I love it. I'm like, yeah, but that is what it is. It's like, okay, when I just sit on my hands, like I was saying to this client yesterday, who was just like, no time, gotta do all the stuff. I was like, you need to sit on your hands. You're not doing anything until you've just sat and deliberately trained your brain to stop looking at your to-do list and just focus on how you are feeling. And she found it really tough. She found it really tough to describe. She's like, I just feel it in my head. That was what she said. That's really common. They're like, I just feel it in my head. And I'm like, okay. We're in our heads, right? Like, we need to really connect with our bodies, okay? So slow it down, just slow it down, and talk to me like I am an alien and I have never experienced what you call an emotion. Like, tell me how that feels. Like, do a body scan. Tell me exactly the physical sensations associated with a sense of love or gratitude or sadness or whatever it is. Okay, so remember, an emotion is just temporary. It's here to tell you something. Pay attention to what you're thinking, but allow it to be there first, okay? So this was another thing I caught on to pretty quickly with my clients, is that they were recognizing a feeling, but they were jumping to thought work. And they were like, oh yeah, so I did we're going to do this tomorrow. I did a thought model. And I was like, hang on a second. Did you do that thought work to escape how you were feeling? And everyone's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, another escape behavior. No, we want to fully meet and greet these emotions that are here. Give yourself permission to feel all and any emotion, and then do your thought work. Once you notice, you kind of notice when you have sat with the emotion, you notice it sort of like, you kind of notice it loosening a little bit or dissipating, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm okay. And then you're like, okay, now what was that all about? What was I thinking there? And what do I need to change about how I'm thinking to shift my state? We're going to do that tomorrow, by the way. But for now, I just want you to practice being in your emotions, okay? So I'm going to send you a couple of PDFs, half an hour, yeah, I'm bang on time. How good is that? A couple of PDFs I'm going to pop into the group. The Language of Emotions is just a PDF that gives you prompts on how to fully focus on your emotions, the physical sensations of how it feels in your body, okay? Just keep it simple. The other PDF is called the Alien Exercise. It's a really cute exercise where we practice getting that awareness. Okay, your self-doubt come to visit. This is what it feels like. So kind of becoming the watcher of what's going on in your body, really going into that observer mode and being like, okay, this is what it feels like. This is the color. This is the pace. This is the temperature, as if you're talking to an alien. And then you can notice the thoughts that come behind the emotion. Okay, so what was I thinking that kind of triggered this? You know, pay attention to those thoughts. And, you know, there's loads of different ways of being able to regulate your emotions. Like I said, I'm a big fan of breath work. Breathing, you know, I talk to any yogi and they'll tell you that breath is one of the most powerful ways to release trapped energy and emotion. And I totally agree with that. But this is just another way. And I find it really effective. And it's also something you can teach your kids. My daughter drew a really cute picture of an alien to help her with this. So give it a go. I'll post it now in the group and let me know what comes up for you. And it doesn't have to be a big scary emotion. You can just be sitting there right now and being like, okay, this feels like calm. Okay, what does calmness feel like in my body? Steady heart rate, relaxed muscles, you know, relaxed jaw, whatever it is for you. It doesn't need to be like massive, big, powerful emotion. It can just be neutral. Just practice identifying the physical sensations that are happening in your body. Okay, that's your homework. Tomorrow, it's going to be a big one. Tomorrow we're going to actually do the thought model, which is a really simple and super effective tool to shift your state, to shift how you're thinking and feeling in an intentional way. So very proactive. This is how I'm currently thinking, feeling, and responding. In a perfect world, this is the result I would love to create. So this is how I want to think, feel, and respond. So we're going to tackle all of that tomorrow. Sound good? Okay, I'm off to enjoy my birthday. Take the rest of the day off. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody, and good luck with feeling your feelings.